So this video is going to show you how to make a ratatouille. So what I've done is I've got myself organised to start with, got all the vegetables out that I want, and opened up my can of tomatoes ready. So into this I'm going to put some pepper, got some frozen peas and sweet corn, an onion, some button mushrooms, a carrot and a courgette. I've also got a stock cube and a can of chopped tomatoes, and I've also put a couple of tablespoons of oil ready into my saucepan. So although I showed you on the bolognese video, I will take you through the process of doing the onion and the pepper again, just as a way of recapping with you. So if you take your onion, chop the top off, and then you need to actually peel the onion. Now, like I said to you last time, if you keep all of the peel on the edge of or on the side, of your chopping board, so that it doesn't end up going into your ratatouille by mistake. Okay, because we don't want to find bits of skin and peel in the ratatouille, because that wouldn't be particularly pleasant. Okay, so once you've got your onion peeled and you've kept your root on, exactly the same as what I showed you last week, keeping the root on, cut through the root. Now you may decide at this point that you only want to use half your onion. Okay, that's fine. These are your ratatouille, so it depends how much you like onion. I actually love onion. So cut up towards the root. Okay, and again, I'm forgetting to show you the proper way there. Okay, making sure that your fingers are completely out of the way every time you're cutting, and then cut in the other direction, so that you've got your nice pieces of onion. Okay, now again, I know some pupils actually like to do that really, really small. Okay, again, it depends really how much you like onion. I like to be able to taste the onion. I don't like it to actually cook away, so that it's very, very small. So now that I've got my onion chopped, just to make sure I keep my board as clear as possible, I'm just going to pop my onion into my pan, so that it keeps my chopping board nice and clear. Okay, so moving on then to the pepper. So again, like I showed you before, okay, cutting the top off, pulling out the middle of the pepper, and then you can just chop that up into smaller pieces. Okay, so just make sure that all of the pips have gone out of there. Now again, okay, a different way of doing it this time. Okay, you can actually just cut along the pepper. Now I tend to cut this piece of the pepper off, no reason in particular, it's just I'm not so keen on that bit. Okay, but if you get your pepper, and as I said, cut it down, and again, just making sure every time that you keep your fingers out of the way. Okay, so if you just finish then chopping up the pepper, as I said, every time making sure you're just keeping your fingers completely out of the way. Now what I'm doing here is I'm chopping what I call the hard vegetables. Okay, so the onion and pepper take a little bit longer to cook than some of our other ingredients. And again, the pepper can just actually go straight into the pan. So the courgette I would also class as a hard vegetable, because it just takes that bit longer to cook. So if you just chop the top off there and chop off the bottom, and what I find is the best way with courgette, okay, you can slice it if you wanted to. Okay, you could, if you wanted to, then cut them in half. Okay, personally, I prefer to either do them into quarters, or, okay, cut in again a section of that, and then cutting it twice in one direction and twice in the other direction, so we end up with 9 cubes out of the courgette. So there's no right or wrong way really of doing it, just however you want to do it. I prefer to do it into the cubes like this, because I think it matches in with the other ingredients that I've actually got in there, which are also in chunks. But as I said, no problem if you wanted to do it into slices. All right, now I'm not a huge lover of courgette, so that's going to be enough courgette for me. Okay, make sure any vegetables that you've got left you can actually pop into the fridge. Okay, just seal them up and pop them into the fridge. And then I'm going to use a carrot. Now I'm assuming obviously you would all think of carrot as being a hard vegetable. So I'm going to peel the carrot first of all. When you're using the peeler, make sure you're peeling away from yourself. Not up towards your body, but away from your body. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it around and just do the other end. Now, the thing with carrot as well, as I said, it is a hard vegetable, so it is going to take that bit longer to cook. So it is very important with this, okay, and again, make sure you keep your peelings out the way. It is very important with this that you cut it into very thin slices. Okay, so if you are going to keep it as slices, make sure that they are actually very thin, or like we did with the courgette, okay, you can cut it into a slightly thicker slice and then cut it into half and half again, so that you actually get some cubes of carrot. So again, okay, however you actually prefer to do that. Now I'm not going to put all of this carrot in. What I will do though is keep the carrot, and I will actually eat it as a snack a bit later on. This is a very hard carrot. Okay, but I said this needs to go in because it will take a while to cook through. The carrot does take a while to cut through, so it does need to be, as I said, small, and it does need to go into the pan at this stage. Now I would also, if I was using it at this stage, put some aubergine in, but I'm not choosing to use aubergine on this occasion, but that's the other one that I would actually get in the pan at this stage. Okay, so the next stage now is going to be to fry off the vegetables. So, okay, as I said, just a reminder, I've got 2 tablespoons of oil in here. I have got my onion, my courgette, my carrot, and my pepper. Okay, now please, okay, remember, I know a couple of you have checked a couple of things with me as we've been going through this. Any colour pepper is fine, any colour onion is fine. Okay, it doesn't matter. The more vegetables you can get into there though is great, because it all actually helps and contribute to your 5 a day. So we just want to fry that off really for about 5 minutes, and I'm not going to make you watch me do this for 5 minutes. Okay, but we're going to leave that to fry off for about 5 minutes to actually start to soften up those vegetables. So while the vegetables are cooking on the pan, as long as we're going back and stirring it every so often, we can actually get our mushrooms ready. So again, okay, a couple of ways you can do this. You can actually cut them into quarters, okay, so cutting them in half and cutting them in half again, or you can slice them. Okay, so I'm going to have lots of different ways that I've got these here. If you've got any which are larger than this, not, you know, a bit bigger than these slices, but you may then decide that you want to cut those slices into half as well, just to make them that bit smaller, or as I said, you may want to cut them smaller again. Okay, and even cut those halves into pieces. Okay, as I've said to you, these are your ratatouilles. Okay, so it's exactly how you actually like to eat them, not how I would actually eat mine necessarily. The other things, as I said, that I would class as being quite soft at this stage, if you wanted to use them, would be, as I said, the peas and sweet corn, like I've actually got ready to put in. Now, I'm using fresh vegetables here, and that's what we would generally do in school, because we want you to have the experience of chopping up the vegetables. But, okay, I know shopping can be a bit of a problem at the moment. So if you have frozen peppers, if you have frozen onions in your freezers at the moment, there's no reason why you couldn't actually use those as well. The same as we can actually get canned peas and canned sweet corn. All right, so you don't have to use everything fresh. And remember, from the work that we did on 5 a day, frozen and canned counts just as much as your fresh. So the other thing that I would have put in here, had I been using it at this stage, would have been the garlic as well, but I've chosen to not use garlic on this occasion. But as I said, you could put some garlic in there. So as I said, you need to fry it off for about 5 minutes. okay, to make sure, as I said, that you've just started to soften those vegetables up. And then we're going to actually add the other ingredients into there. So we are going to put in the can of chopped tomatoes. Now if you don't have chopped tomatoes, if you just have the plum tomatoes, that's fine, because when you actually put them into the pan, you can just actually use your spatula to break them up so they're not whole tomatoes. Okay, the other thing that I would add in next is the stock cube. Now again, okay, it could be one of the gel type stock cubes like I'm using here, or it could be one of the more traditional powdery stock cubes. It doesn't matter which one it is. What is important as you're stirring that is just to make sure the powdery one won't matter so much if you're actually sprinkling it in, but just to make sure that that's all breaking up, because you wouldn't want somebody to be eating your ratatouille and come across a lump of stock. So I'm just going to get that now to come back up to the boil, and then we will put the next lot of ingredients in there. Okay, so as you can probably see now, hopefully you can see that's come up to the boil. Okay, we're starting to actually get some bubbles on there. So I'm going to pop in my peas and sweet corn. Now those are still frozen, there's no need to cook those off first. That will actually cool the ratatouille down a bit now. Okay, so you may not see the same sort of bubbling going on immediately. And then I am also going to put in the mushrooms. Okay, I know some pupils before have actually popped some broccoli in as well at this stage. They actually like to have some broccoli in there. So again, it just very much depends on the vegetables that you enjoy eating. Something you could use, which I didn't mention earlier, I did say about canned vegetables, but canned carrots as well. Okay, actually work really well in here. Now if you wanted some garlic, but you didn't have any fresh garlic, you could use some garlic paste or some of the garlic granules that you can actually buy, and you could add any other herbs into there that you fancied. So what we're going to do now is leave that to simmer for about 10 minutes. Okay, and you will, if you can see the vegetables, you will notice a change in the vegetables after that time. Okay, so I've left that on now for 10 minutes, and I'm going to turn it off because it is going to be ready to eat. You could just serve that as it is. Okay, Nando's actually used to do ratatouille. I don't think they do it anymore. They used to do ratatouille as a side vegetable dish. So you could just eat that exactly as it is, or you may want to serve it with some pasta, or you may decide that you want to have it on something like a jacket potato, or even serve it with some rice. So there's lots of things that you could actually do with that. If you wanted to maybe try and serve it with some wraps, what I would do is put some tomato puree in there to actually thicken it up a bit more as well, so it's not quite as watery. But certainly for serving with jacket potatoes or rice or pasta, that would actually be a good consistency as it is. So hopefully you will enjoy making this one up next. I look forward, as always, to seeing what you manage to do.